British India, the princely states governed their realms autonomously, but they were still subject to the subsidiary alliance system that gave the British control over their external affairs. With the introduction of the Indian Independence Act in 1947, the policy of subsidiary alliances was abandoned, and the princely states were given two choices. They could either accede to India or Pakistan, or try to remain independent. By 1948, most of the princely states had acceded to India, but the state of Hyderabad had chosen to join neither Pakistan nor India. At the time of India's independence, Hyderabad was the largest Indian princely state in terms of population and gross national product. Its territory was 82,698 square miles, consisting of people who spoke Telugu, Marathi, Kannada, and Urdu. Hyderabad not only had its own army, but also its own railways, airline, postal services, broadcasting network, and currency. It was ruled by the Nizam, Mir Sir Osman Ali Khan. The 1941 census had estimated its population to be 16.34 million, over 85% of whom were Hindus, and with Muslims accounting for about 12%. The administration and the military mostly consisted of Muslims. Out of the 1,765 civil services officers, 1,268 were Muslims, 421 were Hindus, and 121 others, presumably British, Christians, Parsis, and Sikhs. The Nizam and his nobles owned 40% of the total land in the kingdom. The Nizam initially approached the British government with the proposal to designate Hyderabad as a constitutional monarchy within the Commonwealth nations. The proposal was rejected by the last Viceroy of India, Lord Louis Mountbatten. Despite the British rejection, the Nizam began negotiations with representatives from European nations and even sought to buy Goa from the Portuguese so that Hyderabad would have access to the sea. He also made unsuccessful attempts to seek intervention from the United Nations. The central government was not keen on allowing a wealthy and powerful princely state to be self-governed. The Home Minister Sardar Patel at the time described the idea of an independent Hyderabad as an ulcer in the heart of India which needs to be removed surgically. Although the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru sought to defeat Hyderabad's secessionist ventures through diplomatic means, the Deputy Prime Minister Sardar Patel sought military means to solve the Hyderabadi issue. In 1938, Muslim leader Bahadur Yar Jung had formed the paramilitary volunteer force called the Razakars in the state of Hyderabad. The Razakars under Syed Qasim Rizvi had effectively gained power in the Hyderabad state, superseding that of the Nizam himself. Favoring an independent state with Muslim supremacy in mind, the Razakars under his orders began to eliminate all opposition, including communists, Congress members, Telangana peasants, and other Muslim moderates who disagreed with his extremist views. They also stepped up their campaign of whipping up religious sentiments among the Muslim community. Following these events, a skirmish between the Indian army and the Hyderabadi forces at Godad prompted Sardar Patel to go forward with the police action against Hyderabad. On the morning of 13 September 1948, 5 infantry battalions and an armoured regiment of the battle-hardened Indian Army under the command of Major General J.N. Chaudhary entered the princely state of Hyderabad at 4 a.m. in the morning. The first battle was fought at Naldurg Fort on the Solapur-Secunderabad highway between a defending force of the 1st Hyderabad Infantry and the attacking force of the 7th Brigade. Using a combination of speed and surprise, the Indian forces defeated the poorly equipped Hyderabadi forces and secured the Naldurg Fort. On 14 September, the force that had camped at Umarg proceeded to the town of Rajeshwar, 48 kilometers east. As aerial reconnaissance had shown well-entrenched ambush positions set up along the way, the airstrikes from the squadrons of Tempest aircrafts were called in. These airstrikes effectively cleared the route and allowed the land forces to reach and secure Rajeshwar by the afternoon. Leaving a company of 11 Gurkha rifles to occupy the town of Jalna, the remainder of the force moved to Latur and later to Mumindabad, where they faced action against the 3rd Golconda Lancers, who gave token resistance before surrendering on the 15th of September. Most of the resistance was from Razakar units who ambushed the Indian soldiers as they passed through the urban areas. The Razakars were able to use the terrain to their advantage until the Indians brought in their 75mm guns. The artillery managed to pound the Razakas into submission by 16 September. In the early hours of 17 September, the Indian army entered Bidar. Meanwhile, forces led by the 1st Armoured Regiment were at the town of Chittial, about 60 kilometers from Hyderabad, while another column took over the town of Hingoli. It had become evidently clear that the Razakas, along with the Hyderabadi military, were routed on all fronts with heavy casualties. At 5 p.m. on 17 September, the Nizam announced a ceasefire, thus ending the armed action. General Joyanto Nath Chaudhry led an armoured column into Hyderabad at around 4 p.m. on 18 September, and the Hyderabad army, led by Major General L. Idrus, surrendered. The Indian military detained thousands of people during the operation, including Razakars. The estimated number of people detained was close to 18,000, which resulted in overcrowded jails and a paralyzed criminal system. The Nizam had abdicated upon the surrender of Hyderabad, and the princely state ceased to exist. Subsequently, the Nizam signed an instrument of accession, joining India. Within 5 days, the military operation was all but over. Around 1,373 Razakars were killed, and another 1,911 had been captured. Additionally, the Hyderabad State Army lost 807 soldiers, and 1,647 had been captured. The Indian Army's losses were never officially revealed, but a figure of about less than 10 people killed is commonly accepted. The Indian Army's police action was considered violent but swift.